Welcome to the Build Blue podcast. My name is Jess Blaze with Apex Construction Group, and we are joined on today's episode by Charlie Leftridge, the Executive Director of the Carnegie Art Center, and Shannon Sinning, who is the Chair of the Board of Directors at the Carnegie Art Center. Hello, how are you guys?
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming. We're going to start. I just want to have you both tell us about yourselves and a little about your backgrounds.
Sure, yeah. So this is Charlie here, and I kind of stumbled into the nonprofit sector, I guess about 12 years ago, and fell in love with it. I love serving people. My background's actually in music, and particularly music composition, so my other hat is that I'm a composer and arranger, so I'm an artist by trade, I guess. Yeah, but I kind of flipped a coin going to college, kind of to decide, if I'd pursue music or fine art, and anyway, pursued music, but I've always loved all different kinds of arts, and anyway, I most recently was working for the Grand Center for Arts and Culture in New Ulm, and then when this opportunity opened up at the Carnegie, it just felt like the right time, and closer to home in a community that I really love, so it's exciting to be here.
And how long have you been at the Carnegie?
4 weeks.
Yeah, I think
about.
So. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that new. That's excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. It's been kind of a wild ride, but in the best possible way. We've got a really great board. We're at a really exciting juncture right now. Really exploring how we can be more active in the community and really make the most out of this beautiful resource in downtown Mankato.
Great.
Yeah.
Shannon, tell us about yourself and your background and how you got involved with the Carnegie.
Wow, that's quite a story. So I grew up around here. I actually attended Maple River High School. I went to Gustavus for college. I'm not an artist. I played the trumpet. I did do that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you are.
But art was always my nemesis in school. I was just trying to figure out how to get an A without actually doing the art stuff, just do the test because I'm not good at that. So I'm married to an artist, so that maybe, the creativity is there. But I guess I'm going back. I was a financial advisor for years. We used to live in Los Angeles after I graduated from Gustavus. We moved back. And at some point, I was asked by my wife and her friend Noelle Lawton, when she started at Twin Rivers Council for the Arts as executive director, they needed a treasurer. I had not done anything on a board ever at that point, like 11 or 12 years ago. And Twin Rivers was having some challenges financially and things. So I said yes to Noelle, joined that board, was on there 8 years. Reset a lot of things. It was an arts board. Then next thing you know, I'm on other arts boards. My wife has an art show at Carnegie. Yeah. Her wedding dress was hanging from the ceiling. That was a few years ago. We're members. She did kind of a fashion thing there. And then when Hope Cook passed away at the Carnegie, who had been in charge for many years, that's when we elected a new board of directors. And lo and behold, I was on there and I became president. So like I said, not an arts person, but I'm a huge supporter of the arts. I'm not an artist, but I love the arts. So I guess that's how we got where we are today. And I've known Charlie for years, just barely.
Yeah.
When he was at MSO, right?
Yep, I was at the Mankato Symphony Orchestra, the operations director prior to being over at the Grand. And man, I loved that. We actually shared office space with Twin Rivers for a little bit. Or I guess we were in the same building, but so I've always loved what they do, and it was kind of cool to see how there was so much overlap, with our audiences for the symphony, and then also those who appreciate the arts, and particularly the sculpture walk downtown. And yeah, so anyway, breezed past Shannon quite a bit over the years, but I've gotten to know him and the other board of director members, and yeah, I don't know, there's some really cool stuff happening, and it's exciting to be here.
Yeah, we've been to a lot of events, and I've always known you had just like a funny like going back and forth little exchange.
Yeah.
But then when he interviewed with our board, the committee that was doing the interviewing, he just blew us away. I was like, this is a Charlie I did not know. I was like, it was the most amazing interview I've ever been involved with.
Wow.
That's what Brian Frank, another board member who's done a lot of interviews at MSU, said the exact same thing to me. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Those full circle moments are fun. Where
they are.
Like we kind of were in each other's orbit, and now we're totally
working
connected.
Together. Yeah.
Super cool.
It's exciting.
So we ask this question of all of our guests: if you could open and run any business, what would it be?
Oh, I've actually given this a lot of thought.
I have not, so you go first.
Okay, and actually it's the kind of thing that really stresses my partner out because I'm such an ideas person, but it's like my dream would be to run a coffee/beer/bicycle/theater/art gallery/music recording studio/performance venue. And so I say things like that, and he's like, okay, and how is that going to work? And I was like, you're right.
We don't
crazy.
get bogged down with details
No.
on the Build Blue podcast.
I want to do all the things. So anyway, in a lot of ways, and this sounds kind of corny maybe, but I'm right now stepping into my dream gig. You know, I love nonprofits. I love grant writing. I love art centers and community development, particularly anything that brings new audiences together or anything that connects artists to community members. And so, again, when this job came up, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it really checks all my boxes. So, anyway, I'm not just saying that because Shannon's here. It's truly like just a dream.
Let me just hit
How
send
exciting.
on your next paycheck. Send.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're done.
So anyway, but truly, I mean, I've always loved the idea of running a facility. And actually, when I was working on my undergrad, I kind of double majored for a while in not only music but also nonprofit management. And so I always knew that working for and with a facility was something that I'd really enjoy doing. And anyway, I got to do that in the last couple of roles that I played, and now I'm in a beautiful space that I get to steward and help establish a vision for, and I don't know, it's really exciting. So
Sounds like you're in the perfect spot.
I think so.
That's great.
The business. I'm thinking about this. So this is kind of weird. This is a weird business to say, but so I have 2 teenagers and a 5-year-old, and I share a lot with my 5-year-old on social media. But my daughter Chloe, who's 18, needed some senior pictures for her yearbook, so we were looking through old baby pictures.
Okay.
And this was a couple weeks ago, so we pulled up some old DVDs because I'm that old, you know, of like videos we had made when they were little. And we started playing the videos one night. We were just going to look at a little bit, and we ended up watching hours of footage. And they were like, my teenagers were like, Dad, you are like the YouTube dad before there were these YouTube dads. Like, they're like, it's insane. Like, they had hours of footage, and I was just filming by myself with them, and Amy didn't even know, my wife didn't even know, and I forgot I even did this stuff. Yeah. And it was like crazy. Like, you have like the one-liners. You always come back to the same thing. They're like, you should have this career.
There you go.
Because there's all this crazy footage. I'm taking weird angles of the mobile, you know, going around. But apparently I have bad dad jokes, and I've had them forever, and I'm really good at filming things.
Nice.
You know, so because my kids watch all these YouTube dad,
Yes.
you know, where they're really annoying.
Yes.
Apparently I'm the annoying dad, and I filmed everything. And it was all just, I don't know, I was just doing it.
So you're going to be an influencer, a dad influencer.
I don't know.
Dadfluencer.
Yeah, they make good money.
Dadfluencer.
You know,
like
so
that.
I guess that's the business. I don't know.
I'm
I don't know.
fully supportive.
Yeah, if you want to see the videos, let me know. I mean,
Okay.
they're really great.
I believe
you. Let's talk about the history of the building where the Carnegie Art Center is housed. It's right here in downtown Mankato, and it's breathtaking, but it has a really cool story.
It really does. So in 1901, so Andrew Carnegie was kind of stimulated the nationwide just tons of these beautiful libraries. And actually there are several in the area. There's another former Carnegie library in St. Peter. I believe it's a hair salon now. A lot of them are kind of repurposed. A lot of them are either arts and culture centers or some kind of repurposed space. I believe there's about 800 or so that are still operating as libraries in the nation, which is really cool. So anyway, all that to say, we're really fortunate to be a part of that story. But so it was built, I believe, in 1901, was fully functional in 1902 as the area public library. And it's fun, I've actually run into a couple of people since I've started who kind of reflected on when they were younger and actually used it as a library. There was a time when I guess you could only check out 2 books at a time, and they were very particular about that. But anyway, and then in 1972, I believe the building was gifted to the city, and then it was taken over by the Mankato Area Arts Council that was also formed that year. and with the intention of converting it into an art space. And so I guess I'm not sure, maybe Shannon, you can speak to this, at what point the artist studios started taking up space.
I don't
there.
think those are right away, because at first, until the Mankato Area Arts Council, which we do business as the Carnegie now, that organization, I think the building was going to be raised and made into a parking lot, if I understand correctly, back then, until this organization of, I think there were some MSU professors, some artists that formed this organization, and they're like, hey, we'll take it over, and we'll buy it. I don't know if they paid $1 or what they did to do it, but at first it was kind of set up just for arts organizations. So they had a theater company, Cherry Creek Theater Company was in there. They had
MSO was in there for a while. Yep.
It had stages on the upstairs and the downstairs. They had stages for theater. So it was more like an arts organization, not for studio artists.
Sure.
And then at some point, I don't know if that was the 80s or 90s, that it kind of switched. Yeah. And it went to the studio artists renting out spaces in the model. And we have currently, I don't even know if it's 10 studios rented out of something like that, 9 or 10.
I think it's we have 10 and one's used for the gift shop. So we have 9 tenants there, which is really great. And then actually a space that's going to hopefully be either like an arts education sort of repurposed area or something along those lines. But so 3 galleries upstairs, the rotunda, which is the really big, beautiful one with the stained glass window in the ceiling, and then the Hope Cook gallery, kind of dedicated in her honor, fireside, and then the gift shop as well. So,
and I think the skylight, the stained glass window you're referring to, was supposed to originally be an actual skylight, letting light in. Oh, yeah. If you look up there, those are just they ran out of funding, so there's a roof right over the top of it. And it's just like a fake whatever. So Brian Frink on our board is always like, we should do a fundraiser where we build the skylight that Carnegie never could, or whatever, So it would be cool. I mean, that's the thing he talks about a lot.
Oh, I know. So. And I'm all for that. Let's also fix the roof.
Hey, I've been up on the roof with Brian.
Bless you.
And it was not doing that. Yeah, it was a little. I'm not. We said after that, no more board members or EDs ever go up there again, because we went up there and it was a little treacherous and perilous. It's higher than you think. I mean, it was. I don't like heights that much. It was higher than I was thinking. So. Yeah.
So function over fashion on the roof. First we fix the roof, and then
professionals, only professionals are allowed up, because there's this huge ladder that goes straight through the ceiling, and it's really tall. And one of our studio tenants who had moved out, Russ, who had been there for years doing the maintenance, he went up above me, and he's quite a bit older than me, and I was so petrified when I off that ladder. But he was the only one that knew how to get up there, and he was showing me, and I'm like, "Are you sure, Russ? This is a good idea?"
Probably not.
He did. He went up there with Brian and I, so it wasn't a good idea, but we did it.
Yeah, bless you. Don't do it again.
No, I won't.
So tell me about the space. So there's the galleries and the tenants that are leasing the space for their own art studios where they're creating. But how can the community utilize this space and come check out the galleries?
Yeah, well, our mission in a lot of ways is to support living, working artists, and we do that in some ways through not only providing spaces for artists to rent and create work, but also where they can demonstrate their work through the art exhibitions and sell it in the gift shop. So the way the community can really not only get a great arts experience themselves, you can also support working artists in the region just by not only coming and sharing those opportunities to experience the work, but those works are for purchase in the gift shop, but also a lot of times in the galleries as well. Mm-hmm. So part of what we're hoping in our visioning moving forward too is to expand what are those touch points, and there's a history of arts education in the space, and so we're hoping to reintroduce that and provide some of those kinds of opportunities in the future again. And yeah, I don't know, do you have any other...
No, those are great. Yeah. That was some great ED stuff right there. That's why we hired him. I'm excited.
And there are membership opportunities for community members.
Absolutely. And membership is just a great way of not only connecting with artists and other like arts appreciators in the community, but you get a discount in the gift shop, which is really cool. And then also direct communications about what's going on at the Carnegie, and it's really reasonable too.
Yes,
very reasonable.
Yep, best deal in town. That's how I say it. It is. I mean, we should actually charge more, but we'll get to that someday.
Yeah.
Organizations like the Carnegie, like the MSO, like Twin Rivers, why are these art organizations so important to communities like ours?
Yeah, well, and I love this question because I think sometimes we think about art in such a narrow scope, but I mean, economic impact alone, you can look at our beautiful downtown and just like how art-centric that has become over, the last decade and even before that too, but artists are a big part of how we not only promote this aesthetic and joy and like physically being here, but also, those are jobs. Those are people that are contributing to families, to businesses, to vendors. They're the people that populate our farmers markets, that show beautiful artwork and inspire people to go into the downtown shops. It's so important to have arts as like an integral part of community because it builds that community and it provides value that wouldn't be there otherwise. So, and then the other part of that is that when you have a happy, healthy community, everybody enjoys being there, right? And so you retain your community members, you can grow. And I do think that the arts are a great way to not only draw in tourism, but establish a really healthy, like long-standing community as well. And that's not only for artists, but also arts appreciators like Shannon. You can play your trumpet for the MSO anytime you want, I'm sure. But
I retired the trumpet. I don't have it anymore.
But the point being is you're the person, right? Like there are all these cool experiences that you can tap into, whether you are an artist or not, and it provides value for you as a community member. And that's part of what is so exciting to be here in this role, is that we provide services that amplify the community that we have. So
Can definitely see why you hired him.
Yes. Yes. And we should have videotaped that interview. It was really good.
Oh. Well, thank you.
It was like how to interview.
Is that legal?
I don't know. But he was having us, like, we had all these questions for him and the other candidates. And at the end of his answers, he would have questions for us that were like, as a board, we're like, I never thought about that. You know, like he was making us think deeper into the next stage of that question we had, which was like, great. It was,
absolutely
not just answering it, but challenging us on what the next step after that is and things we hadn't even considered yet. So
exciting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the future, the visions, anything exciting you guys can share. It sounds like there's a lot of planning happening and big things ahead.
Yeah, we're in a visioning stage right now, and part of what I love about that, and I've been in this situation a couple of times, but we really have an opportunity here, I think, to really explore the needs in the community that we can address. Everything from gaps in our programming, just thinking about, how do we involve new artists, but then also like, what about the community members that don't already connect to us, who maybe aren't artists, but may have the ability to build appreciation. And so, there's a lot of conversation happening right now. I'm really interested in doing a needs assessment for the area. And we know that there's a precedent for arts education, like I said. And so, I don't know, it's really exciting. And we're just in those really initial phases of figuring out how do we expand and how do we meet those needs in the community. And actually, Shannon and the board have done a great job of already like moving in that direction. We have Cultivate Mankato right next door, and I get to hear all the screaming at around 3 o'clock every day. It's really fun. But they partnered with us to do a showcase of children's artwork, and I think that was maybe the first time that had ever happened.
Yes.
In that space. And so I think that there are a lot of kind of low stakes ways to explore how we can meet the needs, even just like in the immediate vicinity. But I'm just thinking like broadly as a regional arts center, I think there's some opportunities to explore how we expand not only arts education but exhibition opportunities, and who knows, I think there are lots of things that we don't even know yet, and we're just in a place right now where we can explore that. I
brought my kids to the Cultivate show, and they loved it. And it's just fun because it helps them see children's artwork, and they're like, oh, I could do this. And so that was a really cool takeaway just from kind of viewing it through their eyes, and they're 10 and 5, so they're
well. And how many opportunities do students have to experience what it's like to prepare work to exhibit and to see how it looks, and then also to react to somebody asking them questions about their work. It's it seems almost silly, like when you think of like really young kids, but like those development opportunities, part of what I love about art specifically is that it touches people at every stage in life, right? And so while we can embrace fine arts, we also have the opportunity to like work on that development from an early age.
Yeah. So. And I think all of us are artists as children, and then somewhere along the line, the world tells us to be something different.
Yeah.
And then we lose that. But when you're 5, all of your art is magical.
Absolutely.
And so is everyone else's.
Yeah.
I love that show that you guys did with Cultivate.
We heard so many parents and grandparents say, parents were pretty young, but they would be like, I've never been in this building. It's right next door to Cultivate.
Yeah.
Grandparents would be that, and that was the most packed show we've ever had, and it was hot. It was very hot. So we need to address that someday with some air conditioning.
Great.
Fixes, changes, how we're going to do that.
Can't wait.
But, grandparents say, I haven't been in here since it was a library. I didn't even know it was still working. The opportunity for the Carnegie is that 99% of people in my mind in Mankato, and I talk to a lot of people just like you do, Jess, and I've always got something I'm talking about. Carnegie is one of the things, school board, Carnegie, what I'm always talking about. So Carnegie is 99% of the people either think they don't know what it is, they think it still might be the library, or that it was the library and it's closed. They just have not been welcome, just asked to come in, Right. So I think the more collaboration we could do, like Cultivate, we're going to be on the sculpture walk now with a sculpture, which we've never been on. We're going to host the opening reception when they install the new sculptures. So we might do something cool like sidewalk chalk arts for kids or something outside. We're working with Tammy Paulson and Heather and their committee to set all that up. But we need to do more collaboration with all these different places to get more people in, because once they're in the Carnegie, they fall in love with it. They just haven't had a reason or known about it enough to come in the doors. So it sells itself once you're in there.
Totally.
So,
well, and I love, like, you're just mentioning too, like those collaborative opportunities. Like, we're fortunate in a community this size to have as many arts opportunities as we do, and something that I'm really interested in is collaborating with the other arts centers in the region. We've got 410 just down the street from us, St. Peter, or the Arts Center for St. Peter, is also just like really incredible. There's the Grand, Wasika, and anyway, all that to say, even the directors are starting to get together. I'm actually meeting with them for the first time as a group on Friday. And I just think, if we can play a bigger role in the constellation of those experiences, not only in Mankato but regionally, there's really a lot of opportunity to increase our visibility. So that's something I'm really interested in exploring more too.
Yeah.
So if there are artists or aspiring artists that are interested in getting involved, what's the best way for them to do that?
I think it's great for them to come to the Carnegie, just envision themselves in the space, see what it is we have to offer, and then in order to have an exhibition, you need to be a member. And so we make that very affordable, like we mentioned. We don't want that to be a barrier for artists, especially if they're early career. Sometimes we know that can be a little challenging, but the best way they can get involved is just to come and see what we've got going on. And if they can envision themselves in that space, I'd love to talk to them.
In any, and I don't have the art word, like any kind of
medium.
Thank you. Yes. Like I was gonna say modality. I'm like, that's not it.
No, absolutely. And I think that's part of what I'm really excited with our next exhibition that's coming up here. We're gonna have some installation artwork. It's a partnership with MSU, art students up there. And so we'll have some installation art. We'll have a couple of other different mediums as well. It's, I think, 139 students who are contributing.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And Liz Miller is leading this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Liz
have you ever
Miller.
seen any of her installation work? Or?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's incredible.
It's very different. It's your kids would love it.
I'll probably love it too. I love different stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, this will be a great show for you then, because I think it's going to be really immersive and kind of wild.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
It's nothing hanging on the wall per se. It's installation, so it's like the Children's Museum over the top.
Oh,
nice. That kind of thing.
Yes.
You know what's up there.
Yep.
So those types of crazy, just abstract, cool ideas, just whatever you can think of. So.
And when is that one?
That one's gonna open. It sounds like at the end of the month. It got moved. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead. And maybe Shannon can speak to this while Charlie looks up the date. The exhibits are constantly changing.
Yes. Yep.
So that's important if someone isn't familiar, that you can visit the art center, just make it part of your entertainment rotation because the exhibits change.
Yeah, and usually they run, Charlie, every 3 weeks? Is that we've been 3 weeks on?
About 3.5 weeks or so.
3.5 weeks, and there's like a 2-week break-ish, and then we have the next, because it takes a while to deinstall and reinstall, and so there's always something happening and changing. So, yeah, and the current show is this Saturday, the last day you can be.
Through February 18th is the last day, and I definitely recommend also checking that one out because it's a partnership also with the Textile Center. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but that's an amazing space as well up in the cities. And they've just got, I mean, I forget how many artists, but it's a collection of lots of different fiber arts. Yep. And I mean, it's an amazing show.
You should go see it before it closes. It's right up your alley.
Yes, we need to go see it. We have not been to that one yet, but my kids do love to visit the art center too.
Yeah, and then our next one coming up, it's called the Mav Arts Studio Showcase, and that's going to be that opens on February 23rd, which is a Thursday, but we'll have the opening reception on the 24th, Friday.
Awesome.
And the installation arts at MSU is pretty big. I mean, Liz Miller does her own work and travels all around the country and the world installing in all these different places. She's very good, very talented. So she has always a robust class of really creative people. So,
is there art, and this I'm kind of going off script here, but is there art programs at all of the, like Bethany, Gustavus, MSU, all of the higher education institutions in our region?
Yes, and actually it's really cool because that's really expanded over the years too, especially I mean at Bethany they have like a segment for film and theater management, arts. We're working with our very first intern. She started last week in arts organization management, so that's really cool. And Gustavus has a really robust arts program as well. They also have a gallery that's beautiful. Don Myers runs that, and it's just super cool. And then MSU, they've just got some really dynamic stuff happening up there, and it's in part because they've got great teaching artists. Actually, Brad Coulter, who's on our board, is a printmaker and just a fabulous artist in his own right. And anyway, that's part of what I'm really excited about with this upcoming exhibition is I think there's an opportunity to really strengthen the relationships with the area schools too. Exciting. Dream collaborations. Ooh, Beyonce. Can I say that? Yes. 100%. What about you?
Collaborations for me, I have no
Well, for the art center,
the art center,
no limitations.
I don't know. Whatever is, I don't know.
That's
whatever you can't even think of. I don't know what it is. I personally think that when people come to Mankato and they're thinking about arts, they've got Guido Van Helton's mural, which is amazing. It's striking. Sculpture Walk is always changing. And I really think that, this is what I always say, those two things are huge. And there's a lot of other good arts things happening. But the Carnegie should be in that conversation when someone drives into Mankato. What do I have to see? Yeah. The first things. You're going to see the Sculpture Walk. You're going to see that mural. But, I mean, you really need to be in the Carnegie. We need to make it so that happens. That's how I'm always, how do we get to that point? That's what I'm
Well, and I think the answer to that, and maybe this answers your question as well, is that collaboration is the way forward. And I mean, that's just my management style anyway, but I think of art as something that's not limiting, right? Like we have the opportunity also, I think, to think about interdisciplinary opportunities where maybe there's also musical components, music that responds to fine art, or vice versa. We have live performance and real-time art creation happening, or like in this case, working with the students. I think my dream is that we actually collaborate as much as possible to really help the community envision themselves there, because then that's how, when people come in and they're saying, what do I need to see while I'm in this place? And the Carnegie is something that's on more people's radar. It's known to be inclusive. It's known to be experimental and exciting. And I don't know. I think dream for me is just to see as much collaboration as possible.
This is very exciting, you guys. Anything you'd like to add before we wrap up?
How can the community get involved? Is that what you're looking forward to? I mean, we do need volunteers.
Okay.
We would maybe you can speak more to that. Committees, you can jump right on a committee, and there's some really cool ones to be on. After COVID, I mean, the Carnegie was really shut down during COVID for the most part. It wasn't open for anything. And so that really interrupted, and a lot of people's lives have changed since the pandemic, but we need more depth in our volunteers and our committees specifically.
Well, and I think maybe something that people don't always understand is that you don't have to be on the board to be on a committee. And I think that there's a lot of value in having a really robust and expansive committee. Particularly, we've got a gallery committee, we've got a communications committee, some ad hoc things that pop up every now and then. And I think just having a broader perspective when we approach some of those things is really great. And then that way, too, you can have a voice in, the future of the Carnegie, right? And then, of course, we do always need volunteers. And part of what's exciting about that is you really get to immerse yourself in the exhibitions that are there. You get to meet really cool artists. You get to be in a beautiful space. And I'll make you lots of coffee. So
I'm in.
Please join us.
Website, social media, things like that, where if people are listening and want to get more information, what's the best way to do that?
Absolutely. You can check out our socials, the Carnegie Art Center right here in Mankato, and then our website, which is thecarnegiemankato.com.
Great. And dates and shows and everything are available there, and contact information or volunteer sign up is there too, I think, right?
All right on the website. So.
Yeah. Do you want to hear my dream collaboration?
Yes.
It's bringing someone back that's already been here and actually showing a little bit, Guido Van Helten.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There you
him and I
go.
have become good friends.
Good.
And I had this idea for a fundraiser. It could be Carnegie. And Brian Frank owns the Poor Farm. Have you both been out to the Blue
I
County
have
Poor
not,
Farm?
but I've heard that it's incredible.
Yeah,
Well,
it's great.
Brian's a really good friend of mine too. So the three of us talk a lot, and we were out there having some beverages and some pizza one night because he has a pizza oven out there with Guido, Brian, and I. And I said, "What about this idea of a fundraiser?" Because Brian has the Poor Farm on the inside is amazing. The outside, he painted part of it and stopped.
Yeah.
And it's never gone past that. I said, "Here's my idea," and I looked at Guido. I said, "It's called Guido Van Helten Paints the Poor Farm." And so you have like Justin Eck come, and he's got all those windows.
Yeah.
Like maybe he paints, or you have different artists paint like something to block out the windows, so he can just spray paint it quickly. So all that artwork, we auction it off in every window. And then Guido comes in, he stores his equipment in Mankato. People don't know that. He lives in St. Paul part of the time, travels the world the rest of the time. He has a place up in St. Paul.
Awesome.
And his equipment is stored in Mankato in a storage locker. So he could go out there, spray it, be done. But you could auction off all that stuff, and you could do some other things to tie in. And Guido said he would do it. So he said we could film it, and then you could show, because he loves going out there and eating Brian's pizza.
Yeah, of course.
And he was like, Guido's like, it shows me at the beginning. You've met Guido or not?
I haven't.
He's just kind of that way. He goes, he shows me at the beginning. I'm just painting whatever, and then time goes by. I'm eating pizza with Brian, and then I'm really big at the end. You show me, and it's done, and I'm just huge, because he loves Brian's pizza. He wouldn't be huge. He's a little, very fit guy. But that's my idea.
Cool.
Guido paints the Poor Farm.
Great.
And it gets Brian's house painted. Number one.
Yeah.
Which is massive, and he's never going to do it. But number two, and it's an arts studio and gallery itself. You need to go out there.
I do need to. So let me ask you
So
guys
you can
this.
do a lot
I know
of
we were
things.
like wrapping up here, but I thought of something else.
This is the thing. I'm going to speak
we're
this
just-
fundraiser into existence. I've talked about it for a couple of years with Guido and Brian, and I've just not gotten to the next
You
step.
can do
That's
that.
the
You
fundraiser.
just put it out to the universe, and it just it just happens. So to your point about the Poor Farm, how do you connect people to the arts community that feel like intimidated? Or like they don't fit in, or like, they are all already friends, and do you know what I mean?
I do, and actually that's part of what I'm hoping we'll address, as the area arts director to meet, because I think we're all doing super cool things, and we've kind of got our circles and our modes of operation, and that's great. But how do we create a constellation of opportunities that people feel invited into and welcomed into? And I think some of that that we're going to start doing is just, how do we market ourselves as community resources versus these elusive venues that like, if you know, and there's something cool about that too. I mean, who doesn't love going to a speakeasy? But that's not who we are. We're community resources. And so to answer your question is, I think we're still exploring what that looks like. But we don't want it to be intimidating. We want it to be something that people feel welcomed into, and we're figuring out how to address that, I think.
Very exciting. Well, thank you both so much for your time. This has been a great conversation. You can find all of our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, anywhere you listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week with another episode.